one more of these weird questions for you before we get close to wrapping up here. Stick around, like I said, we're gonna see that music video for Gorilla Glue, and then again, see them live. See them live. What the hell is the flesh mall?
Oh, that's a good question.
Welcome to Room 6, the channel dedicated to local music wherever it may be found, and the people that make it, including my guests. And my guests today are part of a new pop band out of New England, formed over a decade ago. They're known for playing heavy but accessible music, and their single Freeze Tag is out now, but they have a new song called Gorilla Glue coming out with a music video that we'll be seeing after this interview. Please welcome to the channel Sky and Sam from the band Cheem. Say hi, guys.
Yo, what up?
What up?
Howdy, everybody.
Thanks. Welcome to the party. I got that right. It was Gorilla Glue?
Yes. And actually, when we were filming this interview, the song is already out. But I hope everyone enjoys it after this interview.
If anybody who sees this, it'll be new to them, and that's cool.
And also, make sure you check out the social media links down in the description of this video so you can find out what they're up to, where you can find them, live, and tell them Room 6 sent you. All right. Speaking of which, if you want to be like Sky and Sam, or Cheem in general, and be featured on the channel, whether reviewed, interviewed, or both, hit me up using my email address or by clicking the Room 6 social media link down below. That's where you'll find all the things that I'm up to, and ways you can support the channel, like buying merch at room6.shop, and more. And what the heck, go ahead and click the like, the share, and the subscribe buttons. It really all does help, and I really do appreciate all of you, and I thank you. All right, back to you guys. Enough of the YouTube spiel. First off, why the name?
It's a synonym for swag. No, we've been telling people that is the short story.
Not.
But the long story, since we have a long form interview here, we can tell. Essentially, the band started when we were, young in high school and stuff like that. And so, an original member of the band who is not in it anymore, our friend Josh, he had like a bunch of different made up. Well, all words are made up, but he had a bunch of different words that he would say in place of the word cool. You know what I mean? Like he'd be like, "Oh, it's pretty cheap." Like that was one of them, and he kind of latched onto that one. He used it for a while. And when we formed the band, like every name we could come up with, we kind of, at least one or two of us hated every single one. And Cheem, it was like, all right, well, we can kind of all live with this. And it's also funny because like sort of prohibits him from using it anymore. He's got to find a new word now. He can't just like call things his band name. So that's how that happened. And at the time, I kind of also hated it, but now it's grown on me and it's evolved so far beyond the origin, like the origin of it, that like at this point, it's almost like not relevant to tell people that. So we're just like, yeah, it's whatever. Cheem, it's Cheem.
Fun little fact about the name Cheem. In Singapore, they use the word Cheem to describe something as being deep or profound. So in a way, it has been in our favor to use that name because maybe sometimes you can say that is kind of how our band is.
Yeah, but then it got turned into a slang term where it's like now it means like overly verbose. Like when people use big words to sound smarter, like people are like, "Oh, why are you talking so cheap?" Like I see that a lot on Twitter. So I don't know if it's a good thing, but yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's funny. That's very cool too. That it has some multiple meanings, and you got in on the ground floor of saying, it means this. Right on. So from there, now how long you both have been part of the band from its inception, or did one of you come along later?
So me and Gabe, the other guitar player, are the only like founding members left. But Sam joined pretty shortly after, and it kind of wasn't the band it is today until like we sort of solidified the lineup we have now. So I would say like Cheem proper is like 2019 onwards, and then everything before that was just like it did feel a little bit more like a high school band at the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But now it's more.
It wasn't serious, but
project.
When we found Prince, it was like, oh, this is actually a band that we can try to do shit with.
Yeah, it was the first band I was ever in that people liked. It was just like, whoa, people are like coming to the shows and stuff. Maybe we should like take this seriously.
Yeah, that's generally a good sign. It's your first band?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, the reason I ask is you've been doing shows together as in Cheem for a while now. I like to ask this of all my prey. It's kind of a usual interview question. I wanted to ask, do you have a favorite show memory, like this one time kind of story that you like to pull out when someone says, like, what's it like being in a band? What do you got? Maybe you checked off some rock star wish list, or things went way off the rails. But I was just wondering, do you have a favorite show memory?
I guess it's kind of hard to say, because when you play in a band, you play a lot of really bad shows. So
yeah, so it should be easy to sort out the good ones from those
memories. Yeah,
you do learn to stay humble pretty quick in your music career. It's pretty rare for an artist to have some sort of incredible overnight success if you're not, from a wealthy family, or you have a connection within the industry. None of us
that's
have
the thing.
that.
It's like any show where people show up and are into it and sing along, like that's memorable and a good show, and it sticks with us. But I don't know. As far as specifics, like I can think of one off the top of my head if you want me to say that. You remember when we played Atlanta, and it was like there was like an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting like in the same VFW, like when we got there, like it was still happening. The show was happening after it, and then the PA was like, they're like, yeah, it's broken. It has one input. And we have one mic. And it's like, okay, well, we have 2 singers and backing tracks. So we were like, I guess what we're going to do is play with no backing tracks. And we're going to throw the mic back and forth. And there was a lot of people there, and they were super into it. And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, you know what? Like, even if we show up somewhere and there's like no equipment or whatever, like the technical difficulties, like more than you can believe, it's still going to be a good show. We're still going to like put on like a great performance, and people are going to have a good time. So that stuck with me for that reason.
Right on. Well, then from there, now, Sam, you said this was your first band, right?
Technically, yes.
Oh, can we talk about the difference between Cheem and Sam Naz?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the difference between Cheem and Sam Naz is, I'd say with Cheem, it's a collaborative effort. Like, everyone is bringing their musicianship into the group, and not to brag about the band, but I think one of our strongest suits is our musicianship. We are all really honed into our parts of the band, and so for me, I think about singing all the time, and I'm very honored that I could bring that into Cheem. But when it's just my solo project, it's just all me, and I think it's cool. But it is still Sam Naz is still a part of Cheem, but that's just my stage name.
Right on. From there, one more question for you, Sam, and then we'll move on. When were you more nervous? Your first jazz vocal recital or the first Cheem show?
This is crazy. Where are you finding?
Just digging it up.
Nardwuar.
I've been called the next Nardwuar, but Sam from Hot Ones is my Patronus. Sean Evans, I mean. So Sean Evans is my Patronus.
Wow. I mean, maybe with my vocal recitals, just because it was something that I was getting graded on, but the way that I had to perform in my jazz vocal performances had to follow my teacher and what her methods were, even if I didn't agree with them. And then with Cheem, it feels like it's like who I am as a musician. Yeah, it's like Sam. That's me in my vocal recitals is like a character. Actually,
you're gonna talk about this.
So Sky and I are writing a side album with like one of my personas, and that's a crooner version of me that we call Stan Jazz, and
nice.
we wrote some tunes for Stan Jazz, and his debut album will come out one day, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with the universe because they're not ready.
They're really not. Sinatra is walked so Stan Jazz could run.
You think you're ready, but you're not ready. Right on. All right. So from there, before we get into some of my deep dive questions for Sky, want to remind everybody, stick around. We're going to be seeing that music video, and also hit those social media links for the band down below. And I wanted to ask, any plans for the band to come up to the Pacific Northwest anytime soon?
We want to so badly. We have not toured anywhere past Chicago, Illinois. That's the most west we've been as a band, but that is finally changing this October, November. We're going to Texas, and we're going to Oklahoma and St. Louis. So we're doing that trek, and then we're hoping with the recent momentum with the band that we're going to go even further next year.
Well, hey, if you hit Portland or Vancouver, Washington, please let me know because I will be there. Unfortunately, Seattle's like 3 hours away, so I can't rationalize that, just driving up for a show and then driving back. I have a job and a family and stuff, but I know, first world problems. So, Sky.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Cheem versus Modus Operandi?
Oh my God, dude. That's insane. Yeah, Modus Operandi was like, I literally learned guitar to be in that band. Because I remember what happened was, so the first show I ever played was at a venue called Toad's Place in New Haven, Connecticut. And I didn't know it was like a famous venue or like a big deal at all. Because so when I joined the band, the only thing I could play was drums. And the reason I joined the band was because the guy who was playing drums in the band, my other friend, we're on like 6th grade at this point, by the way. We're talking about like 11-year-olds. He was like, yeah, I'll play drums on some songs. You'll play drums on some other songs. We'll switch off. And whoever's not playing drums will do like percussion or something like that. Play some fucking bongos or rototoms or whatever and do backing vocals. And so then our other friend, who's also 11, was our manager. And his mom helped him write an email to Toad's Place to be like, hi, I'm representing Modus Operandi and we'd like to be on your local showcase. And they were like, yeah, sure. They probably thought we were like 18. So we got a yes from that. And I remember our singer biked to my house to tell, he rang my door and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, we're playing Toad's Place. I'm like, I don't know what that is. And he's like, dude, you're an idiot. And then he's like, all right, well, you got to learn guitar because we're not going to have extra percussion on stage. That's stupid. And so our other guitar player showed me what a power chord was and was
Wow.
like, just move this up and down the neck. And that's how you play guitar. I was like, okay. So I didn't know how to even go onto the other strings. If I had to play a high power chord, I would literally just slide all the way up the neck and play it. And so I learned like 9 songs in like 2 weeks and we played Toad's Place. And that was the first time I ever got on stage. So from there, I was like, oh, like, wait a minute. Now that I play guitar, like I can write, because I always wanted to write songs. Like, when I was really, really young, I would write like lyrics and stuff, but all I played was drums. So when I got into guitar, I was like, oh, cool. Now I can write chords. And it's funny. The first song I ever learned on guitar for the band was Know Your Enemy by Green Day, which has 3 chords in it. And the first song I ever wrote was just those 3 chords in a different order. And that's kind of how it worked. And then from there, I was like, oh shit. Like, so that band actually ignited my ability and my love for songwriting, which has carried over into Cheem. And Cheem is basically just like a fully realized version of like that passion and that pursuit, I guess. But Modus Operandi was really just like, I mean, we were trying to be punk, but like when we were 11, punk was like Green Day and like Blink-182. And then like later on in the band, we were like, oh, we should do like the Sex Pistols and like other stuff like that. And it was fine. I'm sure we were okay for 11-year-olds, but it's funny that you found out about that.
Yeah, well, if you posted,
Yeah, true.
one more of these weird questions for you before we get close to wrapping up here. Stick around, like I said, we're going to see that music video for Gorilla Glue, and then again, see them live. What the hell is the Flesh Mall?
Oh, that's a good question. The Flesh Mall is 2 different places actually, which is funny because the first one. So,
oh my God.
I worked at a movie theater for a long time, and
Good name.
We would get rid of a bunch of like movie posters and stuff, and I thought it was funny to. I collected like all the Paul Blart 2 posters. I was like, nobody is going to want these because people, if it was like a big movie, they'd be like, I'm getting that poster. It's like, fine, do whatever. But
You put some respect on Kevin James's name. You put some respect on his name.
Yeah. So I took all the Paul Blart ones and I brought them up to Sam and Gabe's on-campus apartment at UHart, and they made a wall with just the posters, and they called it Wall Blart. And then there was these memes that we would look up that were edits of the Paul Blart cover, and one of them was just like Paul Blart Flesh Mall, and it was a mall edited to just look like it was Paul Blart's face in the shape of the mall on the cover.
Oh, thanks.
With
I
the
hate
human Paul Blart nowhere to be seen. Yeah. So then we were gonna have a gig in a practice room at their university, which was like not sanctioned at all. And we were like, well, people make noise in this building sometimes. It should be okay. Definitely wasn't, but like other crazy shit went down that night on campus that like miraculously drew attention away from the show. So we were able to get away with it. but the venue that we just call it the Flesh Mall, and it was a one night experience only. And then later on, a friend of ours opened a house venue and named that the Flesh Mall, kind of to continue the legacy. So that's where that comes from.
That's awesome, and yeah, house, especially for house music, that fits, or noisecore or grindcore, that just
Yeah.
like fits. Awesome.
Flesh.
I had to ask. So weird. All right, stick around. We got a couple more questions, and then we're gonna see that music video for Gorilla Glue. Not sponsored, but hey, if they want to, right? You're not sponsored by Gorilla Glue.
Not as far as we know, but if they reach out, we're open to a collaboration.
Yeah, right. We're in it for the art.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to talk. We'll talk about your earliest musical influence. And you OG Room Sixers, you've heard me ask this question, everybody. But I want to talk about your earliest musical influence, and by that I mean, do you remember a moment where you said, "I want to do that"?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was when. Well, I don't know, because I've wanted to do music as long as I can remember. Like, I think I heard "In the Mood," that jazz song, for the first time, and I was like, I want to play saxophone, dude. That would be sick, But then, like, I heard like "What's My Age Again" by Blink-182 when I was like 4 years old, and I was like, whatever that is, I want to do that. And then I was in like not middle school, I was in elementary school, and I heard Linkin Park, and I heard Meg Shinoda rap, and I was like, I want to do that. So it's happened multiple times for me, but those are three standouts, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty similar for me. Some of my earliest influences for music were the songs that my dad would play in the car with my brothers and I. And he would only play the self-titled record by Sublime. And then he would play Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he would just play those albums back and forth every day that I was in the car with him. And those bands definitely were ingrained in my mind when I was young, and I would learn all the songs from those artists by just remembering how they went when I was in my dad's car. And yeah, I've just been singing my whole life. I think one of my cringiest moments where I'm like, oh my god, I have to do this, was when I was pretty young, but one of my first CDs that I ever purchased was "A Fever You Can't Sweat Out" by Panic at the Disco, and
solid album, solid record.
What's cringy about that? You put some respect on Panic at the Disco's name.
You are in Vegas, so
no, I'm not. Remember, I'm in the Pacific Northwest now. Been here for a year.
Excuse me.
So yeah, no. I mean, Panic. Hey, we would love to have their success, right? So
totally. I mean, I love that first album like religiously. Still, I'll listen to it all the time, and I remember listening to that album and being like, I got to do that. And then I listened to a lot of like, I remember getting really into YouTube when I was probably 12, 13. I would just watch any sort of old digital tour bus video overviews of bands' tour buses or stuff that they were doing on tour. And I remember just being like, I remember writing under this desk that I'm sitting at right now and being like, it says verbatim, I'm going to sell my soul to be a rock star. I think I wrote that when I was like 12.
Yeah, that's your cringiest thing.
But here we are today, doing
Nice.
what I told myself I would have to do. So
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You new musicians out there, especially you young ones, get a job. Like, there's no shame in it. Buying gear costs money. Paying for gas on tour costs money. It all costs money. Buying merch to sell. Yeah, it's all money up front. It is a music business, even if you haven't got a record deal or a publication deal or anything. Get the bills paid. Make sure that you've got that.
I actually work on the road. I have a remote email job, and it's definitely helpful to stay sufficient as a touring musician.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're just like, oh, I'm just working part-time so I can buy strings, it matters. It really does. And not only that, you need that accountability. If all you've ever known is being, in school and being in a band, you don't know anything about life. Not really. We can't, and like you said, unless your parents are super rich, or you, or some prodigy that got discovered really early and never have had to work a real job, get a job. That's the old man talking here.
Just work retail for like 1 week and you'll rearrange all your priorities and morals. You'll be like, oh, this is what happens.
Yep.
Fun fact: Scott and I worked at Vans at the same time, different locations, but
Oh, I wish I knew that.
Equally shitty.
So, last question. You made it. Yay. And we're going to circle back to that earliest musical influence question. Again, OG Room Sixers, I asked this of all my prey. We're going to jump in our time machine. We're going to go back and talk to you that said, I want to do that. What is one thing that you wish someone could tell, that you wish you could tell yourself, like, hey, kid, you're going to need to know this. And don't say change your strings.
Yeah, right. That's a good question, actually. I don't know if I've ever thought about that, because it's like I feel like everything I've learned the hard way. Like, I feel like I had to make mistakes to figure out like what not to do. Because like in music, I don't think you ever know what to do until you figure out what not to do. You're like, oh, that was bad and stupid, and I regret that, so I'm going to do the other thing now. Like, I don't know. It's tough. It's very rare that I feel like you just stumble across something incredible without any level of trial and error. So I don't know if I would want to rob my younger self of like that experience, or at least like the character building that comes with it. But I guess if I had to say anything, I'd just be like, maybe I'd just say like, learn guitar earlier, like start figuring out ways to record your songs earlier, and just be like more outgoing. Because I feel like it was one of those things where like, this is getting too into the weeds on it, but like I think people have this assumption that like when you're young and like you're in a band, it's like, oh, everybody's gonna think you're cool if you're in a band. It's like, that is not true. You have to be cool and popular for people to think it's cool for you to be in a band. If you're a loser and you're in a band, people will just like be like, I bet your band fucking sucks. You guys are all, gay or whatever, like middle schoolers say. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens when you're in a band and you're not already popular. But again, then it means you're like actually have to love the music. You can't just be like, dude, this is a great way to like get girls to like me. So yeah, maybe I would just say like, be more outgoing and like tell more people about your band. Like, even if you're like, worried that like you're going to get backlash for it, people are going to make fun of you. Like, it's not going to matter in the long run. Like, people are going to remember that you put yourself out there and actually be like impressed by it secretly, whether or not they show that outwardly.
Excellent.
Yeah, to kind of add on to that, I feel like the more that I've been proud of my work, the more that the people that know me in my real life are actually willing to pay attention and invest their time and energy into it, instead of just being kind of passive about the band. Like, be excited about it. Talk to people about it. Like, there's a reason why you're bringing this into this world. Other than it's selfish, and you should be really proud of the stuff that you make. It could be kind of hard to think of a fine line of, I need to be cool. And just, if people learn about me, like they'll learn about my band, and then also just being like, this is the music that I make and I fucking love it, and maybe you will too.
I couldn't say it any better. That's some wise words, guys. And thank you very much for being on the channel. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit those social media links for them down below. Stick around. We're going to see Gorilla Glue, and then we'll catch you in the outro. And in the meantime, we'll temporarily say goodbye. See you in a minute.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.
Well, shoot, boys.
A premonition that I can't explain. I can feel it coming like a runaway train. I wanna escape with my body intact, but it's already too late to sidestep the impact.
These tears, they taste like a memory. 10 years of karma and history. Been through it all with each other. I don't know how to untangle you from being both broke and slivers of dark blues. Put back the pieces to something new. Now it
I want to thank Sam and Sky from Cheem for coming on the channel. It was a great interview and an awesome music video. If you want to know more about them, hit up those social media links down below. In the meantime, if you want to see more videos like this, click up here. If you want to subscribe, click over there. Ring the bell. Don't ring the bell. Whatever. I appreciate anybody who subscribes. And if you want to hear my own music, click over there. Remember to be amazing, and we'll see you next time on Room 6. Say goodbye, guys.
Peace.
Ciao.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Ta-da!
There's always one.